Welcome to Euroanesthesia 2023, Europe's premier congress in anaesthesiology and intensive care. Anaesthesiologists and intensivists from around the globe have convened at Glasgow's Scottish Events Campus Centre to expand their knowledge, explore innovative techniques and learn best practices. This year's programme covers a wide range of topics, from general anaesthesiology to intensive care, critical emergency and pain medicine, and a multifaceted approach to scientific advancements. And you can catch it all here on Euroanesthesia TV. Welcome back to our final show at Euroanesthesia 2023. Well, as this remarkable event draws to a close, we hope you've embraced the spirit of the dear green place and seized every opportunity to gain invaluable knowledge for the betterment of your patients' lives. Today, we've prepared a compact final show for you that is perfect to catch on your way home. And don't forget, if you've missed anything from us here, all the content will be available online, so do click through to find plenty more shows and clips covering all this year's key topics. And of course, please do share, subscribe and like on social media. First up, we have the privilege of sitting down with Professor Patrice Forget to delve into the pressing concerns surrounding post-operative opioid use in Europe. Patrice, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start by talking about the issue and the public health consequences, because although North America remains the centre of the opioid crisis, what's the extent of the public health consequences linked to prescription opioids here in Europe?
So we have many questions about that. The short answer is that we don't really know. The limited evidence we have and the limited data we have for Europe is that we can't be totally reassured about the existence or the inexistence of a public health problem with prescription opiates. We definitely know that prescription rates massively increased, and in some countries opiate-related death increased. But we also know that there is an enormous diversity in Europe and also an inadequate access, especially in Eastern Europe countries. So that diversity exists. We definitely need better data for exploring that and documenting the real issue.
And is that something, better data, is that something that's been worked on, that's improving? Is that going in the right direction?
So it looks like raising awareness on a problem with opioids has been relatively effective among prescribers, but it also looks that an entire generation has been exposed to opioids, and then a comprehensive approach will be definitely required to adequately tackle the problem, and then finally to improve the access to high quality pain management, and meaning that also a safe pain management.
So when looking at prescribing or administering opioids for pain management, what are the most important aspects that the practitioner should be considering?
So what is very important is just to apply the very simple principle of rational prescribing, and that's definitely applicable to opioids. So that means having a good diagnosis, because all type of pain don't necessarily respond well to opioids. Having an idea about the prognosis and explaining that to the patient, and then speaking about the potential benefit but also the risk of any kind of treatment, and then implementing a shared decision process to be sure that it's okay. Planning from the beginning a good follow-up is absolutely essential, and unfortunately not always implemented nowadays.
And what about the range of clinical tools and tests that are available to clinicians? What is available to help them in risk assessment and decision making? What support is there?
So that depends on the situation, but let's speak about postoperative pain management. For instance, after major surgery, we know that opioid-induced ventilatory impairment can be an issue, and we know that risk factors are very well known. That's advanced age, that's co-sedative, so co-sedative is definitely an important risk factor. Parenteral use of opioids or high dose of opioids, and then that includes also people at risk of using high dose of opioids, like taking opioids before surgery, and people with respiratory disease. So that's for immediate postoperative management. And then for later, other tools may be just again applying the principles of rational prescribing, and a very easy acronym might be the BRUN acronym, so discussing in shared decision making, benefit, risk, alternatives, or the potential option of doing nothing or prescribing nothing. That may also include non-pharmacological strategies. That's sometimes complex, so even to simplify more, if it's required, we may just ask two patients before surgery, what matters to you?
And just to finish off, what are some of the current and emerging options to combat the opioid epidemic?
So definitely we need to implement much better multimodal analgesia. That can be defined very simply by the use of opioid sparing techniques with an S. So that means at least two non-opioids or non-opioid technique, including loco-regional, but definitely paracetamol and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs if there are no contraindications. That's something that we should absolutely need. Implementing loco-regional, but also not forgetting the fact that in the NICE guidelines, one moderate to severe pain is observed or expected low dose of ketamine is recommended.
Well, Patrice, thank you so much. Lots to think about there. Thank you for joining us and have a great Congress.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Now it's time to shift our focus to you, the delegates, and uncover your personal highlights from this exceptional meeting.
Well, actually this is my first international European conference I'm attending, so I'm actually excited to be here first exploring Glasgow and Scotland.
Glasgow is a beautiful place. It's got a lot of history and has got a congress venue second to none.
In this congress I've been learning many things about general anesthesia, pediatrics, hemodynamics. All you can think about anesthesia is here.
My interest is ultrasound and nerve blocks and local anesthesia, so I'm trying to pick the cherries from that.
A lot of talks about maternal critical care yesterday, the carbon footprints, what is actually going on presently. And of course there are some other exhibitions that are going on. I've learned new things about ultrasounds and of course about nerve blocks.
Well, I've learned all the recent advances, all the recent European guidelines which have come down. So the past 1 year, so all this has been highlighted and all the recent research papers which are ongoing. So it's a nice platform to get to know what's happening, how advanced are we going in.
I have checked up on the new guidelines on obstetric anesthesia and also the DAS guidelines on front of neck access.
You always learn something, you know, the most important thing you learn that you have to be capable, to be humble enough at any age to actually increase the amount of time that you spend studying and applying your knowledge.
It's one of my first big conferences, the Euroanesthesia conference. And the big highlights would be the workshop, definitely, that's what I've registered for. And just meeting so many people under one roof.
The highlight for this meeting for me is to be able to see what's going on in the field of anesthesia and intensive care, to network and to see what people are doing from other countries. So I can bring that home to my clinic, to my department.
The best things, I think, is all the workshops and getting to do things hands-on and learning new things and seeing that you are not outdated.
In terms of the abstract presentations, is actually there are quite a lot of things to learn from what people are doing in their different centers.
All the progress that have occurred in the field of intensive care and anesthesia have been touched and covered, so it's very, very important, you know, this holistic view of the specialty in order to understand how things move on.
I would like to be back next year because I've learned so much and it's been a great experience for me.
I hope I'll be back next year. Yeah.
It's always great to hear from those who were able to join us at Euroanesthesia, and it's clear that they had some truly remarkable experiences here in Glasgow. Now let's reignite that energy and relive the excitement and innovation that filled the halls of this essential gathering. Well, that's it. Another weekend filled with illuminating insights and engaging discussions in the rapidly evolving field of anaesthesiology and intensive care. Do make sure to catch up on anything you missed online, and we'll look forward to seeing you next year as we return to Munich. I'm Sam Polly, and you've been watching Euroanesthesia TV.